Welcome to bongosikha. Today I am going to discuss about the fundamental duties. Fundamental duties already I have discussed preamble, I have discussed fundamental rights. Now you should know about the fundamental duties. So, though the rights and duties of the citizens, fundamental rights and duties of the citizens are inseparable and correlative, but the original constitution did not contain any provision for the fundamental duties. There was only the inclusion of the fundamental rights. Later on, the fundamental duties were incorporated in the Constitution, and in 2002, there was one more addition of fundamental duty in the Constitution. And the fundamental duties of India are inspired by the concept of the fundamental duties of the erstwhile USSR, and the Soviet and the socialist states gave equal importance to the fundamental rights and fundamental duties of the citizens. So, the Saran Singh Committee and its recommendations. In 1976, the Congress Party set up the Saran Singh Committee to make recommendations about the fundamental duties, the need of which was felt at that time during the internal aggression, internal emergency 1975 to 1977, and the Saran Singh Committee made recommendations for the inclusion of the fundamental duties in order to instill among the people that when they are enjoying the fundamental rights, they should be conscious to perform some fundamental duties also. So the Congress government accepted the proposals or recommendations made by the Saran Singh committee, and based on this, the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act took place, under which the fundamental duties was incorporated. Part 4A of the Constitution and Part 4A includes the Article 51A, which gives a code of 10 fundamental duties of the citizens of India. So next I am going to discuss the list of the fundamental duties. What are the duties of the Indian citizens? First, to abide by the constitution, law of the nation, and to show respect to the national anthem, national flag, and constitution, to cherish the noble ideals of our freedom struggle, and to defend the country and render national service whenever called upon to do so, to protect the country, its sovereignty, unity, and integrity, to promote the feeling of fraternity among all Indians, transcending religious boundaries, linguistic boundaries, and to show respect to the dignity of the women, and to develop the scientific temper and humanism, to protect wildlife and forests, and have compassion for the living creatures, and to preserve the old heritage of our composite culture. Next, that to develop lust, that to create individual and as well as the collective development, so that the nation can achieve the next level of advancement and glorification. So these 10 fundamental duties are there. Now the features of the fundamental duties. The features of the fundamental duties, that based on the above discussion, we can come to the conclusion that fundamental duties, some of the fundamental duties are moral duties, and some of the fundamental duties are civic duties. Why? For example, that cherishing noble ideals for freedom struggle, that is a moral precept, and showing respect to national anthem, national flag, national our constitution, that is a civic duty. And unlike the fundamental rights, the fundamental duties are confined only to the citizens. Fundamental rights are extended to the for aliens or to the foreigners also, but fundamental duties are confined only to the citizens. And like the directive principles, the fundamental rights are not enforceable by the courts. There is not any legal action can be taken against the violation of the fundamental duty. and like the directive principles and the fundamental duties refer to such values which have connection to the tradition, mythology, religious culture of our Indian culture or Indian system. Next, the criticism of the fundamental duties. There are a lot of criticism against the incorporation of the fundamental duties. The fundamental duties which mentioned in part 4a of the constitution undergo severe criticism. So the first thing is that the list of the fundamental duties, the list of the 10 fundamental duties is exhaustive. What is the meaning of the exhaustive? That is that considering all elements or aspects means it's not complete. সো দ্যাট ইজ দ্য মিনিং দ্যাট সম্পূর্ণটাকে বলা হচ্ছে না, এটা কয়েকটা জিনিসকে ধরছে ফান্ডামেন্টাল ডিউটিস। যখন ডিসকাস করবো শুনতে শুনতে বুঝতে পারবে। দ্য লিস্ট অফ দ্য ডিউটিস ইজ নট এক্সস্টিভ as it does not cover all other duties like family planning, paying taxes, casting votes. In fact, the Saran Singh committee recommended the duty to pay tax. So this is one criticism. Next, that fundamental duties, some of the fundamental duties are vague, ambiguous, and very difficult for understanding of the common man. For example, the terms like the scientific temper, composite culture, noble ideals, and so on. They are vague and they are very difficult for understanding. So the critics and the critics has they have been criticized by the critics that due to their non-justiciable character, since there is no legal sanction for the violation of the fundamental duties. So the critics also consider that part also, that they have no justiciable character. So this is another criticism against the fundamental duties. Next, that the critics said that the inclusion of the fundamental duties in part 4a in the article 51a is an like appendage. That it has reduced their significance and it has reduced their importance as well. So these are the criticism of the fundamental duties. Next, I am going to discuss that the significance of the fundamental duties. So fundamental duties acts as a reminder to the public that while they are enjoying the fundamental rights, they should be conscious of performing their fundamental duties as they owe to their society, to their nation, and to the fellow citizens. Next, the fundamental rights prohibits any unsocial and unnational activities like burning national flag, destruction of the public property, like that only. And they serve as a source of inspiration among the citizens and instill the feeling of the discipline, fraternity, a sense of and commitment among them, and they also help the courts in examining and determining the constitutional validity of the law. So significance of the fundamental duties, these are the significance of the fundamental duties. Now, the new Janata government, headed by Morarji Desai, also didn't annul the fundamental duties even after the post-emergency period. So, based on this, the 42nd Amendment Act came into force 1976. Through the 43rd Amendment Act 1977 and the 4th Amendment Act 1978. Fundamental duties, though there are several criticisms, we can see that they are ambiguous, they are vague, and they are non-justiciable. Moreover, the fundamental duties is not conclusive or exhaustive. It doesn't cover all the duties like family planning, casting votes, etc. But still, fundamental duties have some significance. What are those significance? That it acts always as a reminder to the citizens that they owe some duties to their nation, to their society, to their fellow citizens, and they serve as a warning against any antisocial or anti-communal activities. They serve as a source of inspiration, and they help the courts in justifying the constitutional validity of the law. So these are the fundamental duties, its major drawbacks, and in spite of the drawbacks, the significance of the fundamental duties, features of the fundamental duties already I have discussed. Now I am going to discuss the Pharma Committee observations regarding the fundamental duty. So the prevention of insults, the prevention of insults to National Honor Act 1971 prevents any disrespect. You cannot show any disrespect to the national flag, national anthem, and constitution. So that is provided by the Prevention of the Insults to National Honor Act. Next, the various criminal laws in force provide for the punishment for encouraging enmity between the different sections of people on the grounds of language, race, place of birth, religion, and so on. Next, the Indian Penal Code also declares the imputations and assertions prejudicial to the national integration as punishable offence, and which is more important, that is the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967 provides the formation of the creation of any communal association as unlawful activity or as unlawful association. So that is the Unlawful Activities Act, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is very important. Then the Representation of the People Act 1951 that provides for the disqualification of a member of the state legislature or parliament on the proved ground of encouraging corruption or proved ground of misbehavior. So that is one thing. And the Wildlife Protection Act of 1972 prohibits the trade in rare and endangered species. So that is completely prohibited, that trade in rare and endangered species. And the Forest Conservation Act of 1980 checks the indiscriminate destruction and the deforestation of the forests and land for non-forest purpose. So this is all about the fundamental duties. Saran Singh Committee, its recommendations, list of the fundamental duties, 10 fundamental duties, features of the fundamental duties, next to the significance of the fundamental duties, and Pharma Committee observations. These are very important, and that's all for today. Thank you.